Okay, good morning everyone. So yesterday we learnt about one example related to API data. We created this example, a simple shopping cart like example we designed. So in this we are fetching data from API. We learned how to filter the data, how we can add items into cart, how to display those cart items and all. So this is to understand how complex data is handled. And yesterday I showed you some nested iterations also. Now, after understanding these data types, so we need to know about another date type, how to work with date type. In JavaScript, to work with numbers and string, we have primitive types. So we have primitive types. In that, number, string, boolean, null, and undefined will come. Non-primitive types. So here we will have string and object will come. We have date type, means how we can handle the date type. Date type is nothing but what is the concept of date type? Date type is, it is used to handle date values, handle date and time values. Working with date and time is also very important. In websites, lot of interactions we have to manage by using date and time. So how to store the dates and how to work with the dates? Let's see. One simple option I will show here. Date HTML. So we are creating a script and where some name is a string type, and we have price is a number type, and we have MFD. Suppose it is manufactured is a date. Now the question is how to store the date. So suppose I want to store the date like 26/10/2022. It is not valid. If I put in a quotations, that becomes a string. And if it is string, then we cannot identify which month it is, which day it is, how many days from current year. We can't do any date related manipulations on that. So generally, to store the date types, actually date and the time values are stored in memory by using, we have a date constructor, by using date constructor. So in order to store the dates, we have to use this date constructor. Already we learned array constructor. Array constructor, same like array constructor, we have a date constructor. So what we have to do, where some now is equal to new date. This will allocate the memory for date. But what it will do is, it will load current date. Whatever current date and time is there, it will load. If you want any specific date, then here to store any specific date, you have to pass the date value in a string format, by using year, month, and day format. That means usually if year, month, day, and you can pass hours, minutes, and seconds. That is how we have to pass the date and time if you want. It is mandatory that date must be in year, month, day. Any another format you type, it is considered as invalid date. It is referred as invalid date. It must be always in the format of year, month, and day. So what you have to do, if this is wrong type date, how to store the date? We have to use new date. This will load the current date and time. If let's print that and see document.write. We are printing name is equal to the name and price is equal to the price, and manufactured is equal to whatever the manufactured, MFD. So that is the option. And see, manufactured is having a date and it is printing the current date here. Whatever current date and time is there, it is going to print the current date and time. If you want any specific date, we have to pass the date here in a string format. First year 2022 and the day, suppose 20, month, suppose 7, year, month, day. Month is 7 and day is 20. Year, month, day, that is the format. Now I am saving that here and you can see it will get that particular day, Wednesday, July 20, 2022. Time by default it taken. If you want any specific time space, hours in 23-hour format. That means suppose 09, so 30. Then it will get that, so 9:30. So it is depending on what date and time you have passed. If you don't define, then default date will come. And if you want to store any specific date, it must be in this format, year, month, day format. Working with date values is very important in real-time projects. Ticket bookings, bus, flight, movies, everywhere date is important. Date and time are important. And dealing with the dates, you need this option. So here, you can store specific date in this way. So where, so MFD, so new date, and here year and month and day, and hours and minutes. Like this you can configure the date. Storing date is done in this format. While displaying, you can display in any format you want. That means actually to access and display date, JavaScript provides following functions. We have a lot of date functions. What are the date functions we are having? Get hours, get minutes, minute, TES, get minutes, get seconds, get milliseconds, and get date. We have get day, we have get month, and get full year. These are all date related functions. That means we can access the dates, get hours, get minutes, get seconds, get milliseconds, get day. But what is another problem with this is all these functions will return number, only number. That means get hours will return our number. So will be from 0 to 23. Minutes will return the minutes number 0 to 59. Seconds will return 0 to 59. Milliseconds will return 0 to 99. Date will return the current date number. Current date number something 26. Day will return weekday number. Weekday number so will be, weekday number is nothing but weekday number starting with, weekday number will start with 0. 0 is equal to Sunday. So month also will return month number. Month number here also 0 starts with January. And a full year will return the year number. Year number is 2022, like that. So every value returned by this function is a number. Then to display in a clean format so that user can understand, we have to use a lot of techniques. So we have to use a lot of array methods. I will show you. Suppose we will see one simple format, how to display. Suppose we are designing here, we are designing a toolbar. Let's create a link relation style sheet and href node modules, bootstrap icons, font, bootstrap icons, CSS, and link relation style sheet, and href is equal to node modules, bootstrap test, CSS, bootstrap dot CSS. We are having bootstrap here and class container fluid. Already we know how to design a simple toolbar. We will create a div class, so margin top, btn toolbar, button toolbar, and here we will give bg danger, something like this, text white, and this is button toolbar. In this we already learned bootstrap. We have a btn group, button group, and here we will put a button, say shopper, like this, class btn and btn danger. So here we have a span class bi and bi cart 4. Okay, this is a simple design. Here shopper, we have this. And now right side, what we will do is we will create a div and class btn and btn group, and here we will put a button here, just so class btn and btn danger. Here in this button I am giving a simple span, class bi calendar date. Okay, like this. I have a calendar date, and beside that I will put another span, id as LBL date. Okay. That is the button we have. We will keep another button. So class BTN and BTN danger, and we will have a span. Class BI time. Timer clock. So clock fill. Okay. And here we will put another span ID as LBL time. Okay. That is date and time. Okay. And in between, I will add another div class BTN group. And here we will put a button, class BTN and BTN danger. And here we will put a span ID is LBL message MSG. Okay. And this button toolbar, what we will do, justify content between. Justify content between, it will keep this way. Okay. Now what should happen whenever the page opens? I want the current date and time beside that. That means today's date and time must come here beside the calendar date, and beside that time should display. In the middle, I want salutation. Salutation means good morning, good afternoon. So good evening. Depending on time, it should change. You see all websites. You open Facebook, it says good morning, right? So good afternoon. That's all based on date and time. So now how to display time, date, all these things. Let's see. First option is we have LBL time. So there I want to display the time. To do that, on body load, on load, body load. On body load, we will write here script, the function body load. Okay. Before body load, we will write a function get time. Get time. So what is this get time have to do? Get the current time. So where time is equal to. So here we have to use new date. This will have both date and time. Now in that only time we have to access. For that we have ready-made functions. We can use two local date string, or you can use two local time string like this. These are used to return only date, only time. So I'm using here, so that is the time. I will use get element document dot get element by ID LBL time dot inner HTML we want to display time dot to local time string we are displaying. That means first we are collecting the date and time. From that only time we are collecting and displaying inside this. Now I will call this get time. I will call that get time on body load. Get time function should execute. Now you see it will get the time and show. It is 9:45:22 AM. That is time. But time is not ticking. Time is not ticking because at the time of loading body, what time is there, it will get that. Again, it will update when again body loads. That means you see, I refresh, then again it will update 53. It should not be like that. Every second it should update. That means this function should execute every second. If any function you want to execute automatically based on time interval, then you have to use a method called set interval. Set interval. Set interval is used to set time interval for executing a function. So in set interval, which function you have to tell function name. Function name is what? Get time, comma, when it should execute. Time. Every 1000 milliseconds it should execute. Every 1000 milliseconds means every second it should execute. Here one important point is that actually when you are working with time, milliseconds I said 0 to 99. But here I am giving 1000. So milliseconds are calculated in two ways. If you are calculating milliseconds for general system clock milliseconds will be 1 to 100. 100 milliseconds equal to 1 second. But processor milliseconds are 10 times faster than clock. That means processor speed is 10 times faster than clock. That is the reason when you write any function and give it to process, for process 1000 milliseconds equal to 1 second. That means as a developer, when you are writing any function for process, then it should be 1000. If you are writing for general clock, then it should be 100. That means now what processor have to do? Every second it should execute. Then 1000 milliseconds equal to 1 second. Now see what happens. It's very simple now. It is working now. The time is ticking there. It is 48. The time is ticking. It is not standard. Every second it is going to execute. So that is the time. Okay, now we want to get the date and display. Date we will display here. What is the label we are having? LBL date. But important is for date also we have like this. I will use get date. So here on load document get element by ID, LBL date. We will declare, so where date is equal to new date, and we will get here dot inner HTML date dot to local date string, to local date string. But to local date string, it is going to display in this way. Suppose I want to display weekday, Wednesday. So date, year, my own format I want to display. In that case, these ready-made functions are not enough. We have to use these functions, but these functions will return number. I will tell you here. See, I want to display detail. If I want to display detail, first we will collect month. We will collect the day, month, year. 3 we will collect. First we will collect weekday. Weekday, how to collect the weekday? Date dot get day. Get day means it will collect weekday number. Weekday number is what? 0 is Sunday, 1 is Monday, 2 is Tuesday, 3 is Wednesday. It will calculate, it will return that number, right? Similarly, where day, how to get the day? Date dot get date. Day number it will get. Day number is 26, 27, 28. It will get the day number. Next, we will have month. How to get month? Date dot get month. Get month will return the month number. Month number 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. Next, year. How to get the year number? Date dot get full year. It will get the full year. Now weekday, day, month, year. We want to display here. First, I want to display weekday. We will put a binding expression. We want to display weekday. Okay. After weekday, I want to put a comma, right? And after that, I want to display day. Then we will put here day. Okay. After that, I will put a hyphen. After hyphen, I want to print the month. That means I will put the month. After that, I will put a hyphen and I will want to put the year. So year, again, I will keep here year. Day and month, I will give some space, right? Now you see here, these all will return numbers. So the presentation will be like this. 3/26/9/2022. Because every date value will return a number. That means what is 3? Wednesday. So we don't want number, we want word. We don't have words. All date and time functions will return only number. Then we have to use our program technique to do this. How we use the program technique is, actually what we do here is, here we will put a simple example. Let's see. Here we will create one array. We are creating var weekdays array. In the weekdays array, first will be Sunday, second Monday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, like this, Wednesday, so Thursday, just I will give shortcut, so Friday and Saturday. You write complete word, whatever you want, right? Just this one. Similarly, we have var months. Months is again array. It contains some Jan, so Feb, so like March. Everything you have to define. So March, April, May, June, so July, so August, so like this, September, and I given here October, so November. Current month I am giving full, right? Others you have to write full. I am just your wish. You can display short or full. Okay, now we have weekdays and months. What this function is returning, weekday function is returning, get weekday. What it is returning? Weekday number. That weekday number we will pass into, so that weekday number we will pass into weekdays array. Into array we will pass that number. Then what will happen? This is index number 3. Index number 3, what it is having at index number 3, it says Wednesday. Now it is perfect. We need to create an array for that and define. Similarly, what about this one? Days, okay, this is okay. Month, it returning month number, na? We will use that into which array? Months. Into months array, we will pass that number. Then it will get the month name and display. How you want to display, that's your wish. That means with hyphens, with slashes, how you want to display, it can display in that way. So whenever you are displaying date and time like values, this is important. So you have a date and a time related functions, but all those functions will return number. Now you should design in such a way that it will update every day. Tomorrow you open, whenever they open, that date and time will come. So that is very important. Now here, now tell me how to set salutation here. We want to set a salutation in the middle. Salutation is good morning, good afternoon, like that. How do we set salutation? Let's do one thing. So when body loads, already date is declared, na? We will get our number, where hours is equal to date dot get hours. And here we want to display inside this LBL message. We will collect that LBL message also. So here we will collect LBL message, where MSG document dot get element by ID. What is it? LBL message. Here we will write a condition. If hours is greater than or equal to, hours is greater than or equal to 0, and hours is less than or equal to 12, 0 to 12, then MSG dot inner HTML, we want to display good morning. I want to display good morning. That means 0 to 12, then it is good morning. Suppose else, if another condition, if hours is greater than 12 and double ampersand, and hours is less than or equal to, suppose we will give how much? 17, that means 5. Then what it should be? We will put MSG dot inner HTML. We will say good afternoon. Otherwise, we will put here else MSG inner HTML is equal to good evening. Like this we are displaying. We can write any number of conditions like that. So now you can see it shows here good morning, right? Any message, right? So good morning, and it will you can put icons, symbols. Suppose we want to put icons, means another span we need here, right? We will put a span ID as LBL MSG icon. Okay, MSG or LBL icon I am giving. Call that here. So where LBL icon is equal to document, I will just give icon is equal to document get element by ID LBL icon. Now if it is morning, what we have to do is we have to keep icon dot class name, because it is a bootstrap, na? bi hyphen, suppose we have sun is there. Let's see, it should display that sun will display. Similarly, we have to give different icons depending on the, you search bootstrap icons, you see evening, afternoon, some suitable icons, and you can apply the classes. That means for morning we applied this class. Suppose afternoon, so icon dot class name is equal to bi some sun fill, something like this. I haven't seen that. You see what icons are there in the bootstrap icons, and apply those classes. For evening, for morning, for afternoon, different icons you can put them. And remember, this message will be changing according to time. Currently you can test by changing the time, but currently I am going with online class. If I change the time, it will crash. So you try in your machine. What you have to do, change your system time, then close the browser and open. Don't refresh and see. Remember, when you change system time, refresh will not update. When you change the system time, refresh will not update. You have to close the browser once and again open. Because system time is changed, your project have to reset again. So you need to reload the page again, not refresh, right? Because sometimes you directly refresh and say that I changed time, but it is not working. So because refresh will not update the time, you have to reload the page if you change the system time. Okay. So this is generally seen in all websites. And this is how we manage the dates. Displaying the dates in a proper format, displaying time in a proper format, according to time, showing salutations and messages. All these are very common things in websites. If a date value is stored, how to collect and how to know which weekday it is. All that you can do by using these functions. Actually, so JavaScript also provides functions for setting a new date or time. It provides functions for setting date and time. Not only get, for set. Dynamically, if you want, you can update the date and time. For that, we have set hours. We have like set minutes. We have like set seconds. So seconds. We have like set milliseconds. We have like set date. We have set month. We have set year. We don't have set weekday. Why? Because set weekday is not set. Weekday is automatically identified based on day. We will not set the weekdays, right? So we have these options to change. For example, I want to change the month number. Then simply what we can do, let's go. So here, before displaying, currently here we are adding the month. What we can do is, before displaying, we can set a new month. What we will do, where we are displaying that, we are displaying here, here we are displaying the month. Before displaying, we can use like month dot set month. So, or say this is data. What we have? Yeah, date. So date dot, we have set month. Month number starts with 0. That means if I give 0, that is January. Suppose November I have to give. Then how to define? I have to give 10. 10 is for November month. That means set month 10. Then it will display that. So where it is? So we are, month name we are giving. So this we have to apply here. Here we are, this is what we are doing. That means before displaying that, here we are assigning. Before assigning, we have to set it. Okay. Then it will get that month and display. That means where we want to do, before you applied, there you have to change. Right? I given the month as suppose 11. Then it will be like December 26. Based on that, it has to change. Usually, this is used to change the day, month, year. We have to just do before it is changed. Means before it is applied. We have to do that. This is for set. Set is for if you want to change the date and time, then you can use these functions. Set hours, set minutes and all. Right? So this is one complete example for handling dates. I will copy that example. This is the complete example for that. In this example, we used a lot of things. We used our array concept. We used our date concept. And I used extra an option called set interval. What is set interval? Actually, set interval is nothing but, let me give you a definition about that. So set interval is nothing but it is a timer event of JavaScript that performs the specified action at regular time intervals. Syntactically, we write like this: set interval and so function name and time interval. Like this, we need to define. In our example, what we done, set interval, we have get time and milliseconds we have to define. This is used in various occasions. Actually, this is already there in your Bootstrap. In Bootstrap, we learned carousel. In carousel, what you have seen, every 5 seconds slide is changing. 2-3 seconds changing. If you remembered, there we used data BS interval. Remember, data BS interval is changing the timing. That is actually internally using a timing function. Data BS interval, how many milliseconds you mentioned that? Already we done that in carousel, right? Yeah. This is one example for dealing with dates, right? Almost in every website you will see date, time, and salutation depending on date and time, right? Now, one more point is how we can access the dates from input and use those dates. Because generally, sometimes what we do, let's add another example here. So date demo.html. So here we are using date demo HTML. Let's add another option here. See, what we will do is in this date demo HTML. Okay. So here we will put a simple option like departure. Departure is input type is equal to date. You remembered we learnt about date control in HTML, and we will put a button as submit. Okay, this is departure date and submit. Now user can select a date here and click on submit. We have to collect the date and display clear. That means details we need to display. Suppose we will use date time local. Already we learned that it will get both date and time. When they click submit, I need to collect that and show. So how? On first we need to put an ID. What is it? LBL txt date. Okay. And here we need to put on click. On click is submit click. And I want to display that in a, I will put a line break, and let's put a field set with a legend. So here departure details. Okay, departure details must display like this. On submit, we have to get those details and display. So what we have to do in the departure details, we will create a simple data list and a data term. And here we will say departure date. Okay. And data definition, ID as LBL day. Okay, departure day. And here departure month, departure date. And here ID as LBL date. And we have departure month and here ID as LBL month, and year. So data term year, departure year, and here so ID as LBL year. All these are defined like this: departure day, month, year. And I want to display, so we will put a simple style. So style, and here data term, font weight as bold, and every margin top, margin bottom we will give 10 pixel or 14 pixel, some space will come, and we will put data list display as grid, display as grid, grid template columns, 6 fractions and 6 fractions. We will divide into columns, and here we want to display the details on button click. So let's write a script. So function, what is it? Submit click. On submit click, we need to collect the date entered inside the text box. Document get element by ID. What is it? So it is txt date dot value, but everything entered here is a string type. We have to convert that into date. So we have to use new date. Into that we have to pass that value. That means whatever value collected from the text box, it will come in a string form. That string is stored inside this date, and it is converted into a date format, and it is stored in the date. Now what we have to do, we need to get the numbers, names. Again we need arrays. We need to configure array. Let's go to the previous example. Here we already declared these options. We have to get weekday, day, month and all, but I will just collect these arrays. We have 2 arrays here. Yeah, we have 2 arrays here, one array for weekdays, another for months. What we will do now, so document dot get element by ID LBL day dot inner HTML. Inner HTML is equal to, we have to use, so weekdays of date dot get day. Understood? That means what it will do, it will get the weekday name. It will get the weekday name. So, and next document dot get element by ID LBL date dot inner HTML is equal to simply date dot get date, because that is 22, 24 number will come. Document dot get element by ID. What is it? LBL month dot inner HTML is equal to months array, into that date dot which one? Get month, will get the month num, that returns the month name. Similarly, document get element by ID LBL what? Year. Year dot inner HTML is date dot get full year. That's what we need to do. And you see now I selected some date here. I selected some date here, suppose 28th, and some time I am selecting here, and click on submit. It will get that date and time. So departure day is Friday, departure date is 28th, and month is October, and departure year is 22. So you are selecting here. So time we are not displaying, we can display the time also. Is there anything for time? Not there, na? Why? We will put data term departure time. Okay, we will put data definition ID as LBL time. We will put that here, document dot get element by ID LBL time dot inner HTML is equal to date dot to local time string. We have to get to local time string. Then I selected here date. Suppose it is Friday and some time is selected and say submit, it will get the date and time. You can choose any date. You can choose any date. Suppose November some 15th and some 3:21 some PM and submit, then it should get that. So it is going to collect Tuesday 15 November 2022 end day. So dealing with the dates is important. Do you remembered already I given you a task where I asked you to try hotel registration form in that date. So when you want to display date in a clean form, so then this is the function. That means generally in that booking site, what you do, you have to mention weekday which. So what is the month number, name, then we need all these date functions, right? If you done that hotel registration form, you might have collected the date in a string form. Am I right? Directly collecting in a string form and displayed that. But this is how you need to correctly deal with the date. So this is dealing with the date values. This is another example. I will give another example for that. That is how we can work with dates. So in the data types, how to work with numbers, strings, dates. This is the difference. One more important, in JavaScript data type, we need to know about map type. Actually, map is new in JavaScript. So map is new in JavaScript. In JavaScript from version ES5. From version ES5. So what is map? Map is a key and value collection. It is a key and value collection like object. Map is a key and value collection like object. Now the question here is, what is difference between object and map then? What is the difference between object and map? That is very common question these days. So what is difference? Difference between map and object, because object is also key value collection and map is also a key value collection. The difference between object and map is nothing but, actually, let's say object and map differences. Generally in object it is a key value collection, key value. Here also it is key and value. But in object, one important is key is only string. Whereas in map, key can be any type. Any type. That means you can have a number type key, we have a string type key, or we can have a Boolean type key. But in object, key must be only string type. But here in map, you can have any type. So key and values are these types. That means what we have to do here, generally, we need to configure the key value types. And we already saw the JSON data when we created. I will add here some map demo. Okay. Generally, when you are displaying script, and we are creating an object, here key cannot be number. Key cannot be number. So you cannot store anything under number. It must be always what type? String. So that means key must be string. Value can be any type. It can be string, number, Boolean, anything, but key must be string. Already we learned JSON data. In JSON, already we saw that keys must be what type? String, right? So it is mandatory that key must be string, but here key can be any type. Another important is here object have to uses explicit iterators. If I want to read all properties and values from an object, see, that is very important. Suppose we created an object where product is equal to, it is having name, so Samsung TV. So it is having price, some price, and it is having stock, some stock, true or false. If anybody asked you, like, how do I know the properties of this object? Suppose if object is coming from API, how do you know what it contains? For example, see here, we learned last session, we can use fetch method, right? That means fetch http fake store api.com /what products /1, it will get one product. It uses a callback function. Then what function will do? Response, and it should return this response. Return the response into which form? JSON. And here we have to use another then, a callback function. This will collect the data. Data is nothing but it is returning one product. If I ask here, how to know what properties that product have? Because that is not the data we created, that is coming from some third party. And how do we know what properties it will have? We have to go to the data and see. No need. Without going to the data, we can see. How? We have to write iterators. Like for where property in, what is that object? Product. It will read every property and we have to print document.write. What is that? Property. Every property we are printing, and you can see it is going to return all the properties and show. Means it is going to return all the properties and display. You can see it will come. That means we don't know what type of data is present, but whatever data is present, we have to return. We need to fetch that. Then we need explicit iterators like this. By using for in, I already showed you in arrays, for in for property, for of for values. And it can read every property. If you want to read every value also, then what you do, plus, I will put a hyphen or a simple colon. And again, I want to print here. So what is it? Product of property. And it will return the value also. It will return the values also. That means what is one ID, name, everything it will return. Suppose I want to know its data type. Then what we have to do? I have to use here type of that particular property. That means what is the type? It will return the data type of it. Number, string. We can know the data types and we can display the data types. So technically, this is explicit iterators. You need explicit iterators. Here I will give. You need explicit iterators. So for explicit iterators, for what purpose? For reading properties. For reading properties and values. But what is map? Map, it provides implicit iterators. Internally, it has some iterators which will return directly properties and values. It is easy. That means actually object is slow and map is fast. Why? Because object depends on explicit iterators, but map depends on implicit iterators. It is fast. So map have some advantages, but drawback is also there. Because key type can be any type, it is not good for data. I already told you data must be all string format, means keys. Then if you are dealing with some structured data, then map is not good. Map is good for structureless data, and data which need to be accessed fast. Actually, object have no size for properties. There is no size for properties. That means properties, no size for properties means any number of properties you can store, but you can limit size in map. You can tell how many properties can be stored. You can even know how many properties are present. For example, if I want to know how many properties are there in this object, then counting and returning it is a difficult thing. For that, it will have a simple technique. Through that, it can return the count. It can return the count. That is what ability of map. Without seeing the data, we can simply tell what data is present. That is the ability of map. But map will not suit for every situation. But it is good. How it works? Simple. What we have to do is, to deal with map, we have to declare like this. Declaring map. How to declare a map? We have to simply use where obj is equal to new what type? Map. How to store data into map? So storing data into map, we have to use obj.set method we have to use. This set contains key and it contains a value. Key can be any type, value can be any type. How to access data? To access data, so we have so many options. One is, we can use obj.get and we can use the key. What is advantage of that? It returns specific. It returns a specific key and a specific value actually. We can use obj.keys. That means what it will do is, it returns all keys. We can use obj.values. What it will do is, it returns all values. You can use obj.entries, and it returns both keys and values. It is easy for reading them. Not only that, so in many interviews they ask like, how to delete any property of an object. How to delete any property of an object. Suppose object is having these properties. I don't want category. How to delete that property? To delete any property, what we do is, generally we use a separate delete operator. Delete product dot category, that will delete it. Then when I refresh here, category is not there. That means category is deleted from that object. To delete any property from an object, we have to use this delete operator. This delete operator is not object related operator. It is a general JavaScript operator. By using a special operator, you have to delete. But what is advantage here is removing is very simple. How we can remove? obj.delete. It will delete. Delete, which one to delete? We have to mention the key. We don't need an explicit operator. We can use obj.clear. It will delete all. That means it will delete, it deletes specific, and clear, it deletes all. So it is easy to handle the data with a key and value collection by using map. But unfortunately, map is not having structured data. Then if any time you have to deal with structured data, map is not good. Then we have to use both objects and maps, depending on situation. These days, for unstructured data, we are very much using with the maps. For example, see simple. So this example I will give to make you understand how it works. Map example I will give here. Generally, how to configure the map. So here where some topics is equal to new map. Now topics dot set key and value. Key is any type, value is any type. Suppose 1. So this is HTML. So it is a markup language. Like this we define. So topics dot set. Another here we defined CSS. So here we defines styles. That means one key is number, another key is string. That's okay, it will work. Suppose we are trying to access same document dot write topics dot get one. That means it is going to return the first one and show. Suppose I want to get the second one. That means we have to give topics dot CSS. It is a string type. It will get that and display. Suppose I want to access all the keys. Then what we do? We will simply use a for where item of say key of what is it? Topics dot keys. Topics dot keys will return all the keys. Document dot write we will print the key. And you can see it is going to return all the keys. I will put a BR. That means first key is 1, second key is CSS. Suppose I want to return values. We have to just use what? Values. It will return all the values. So what is it? Spelling. So values. It will return all the values and display. I want both keys and values. Then we have to use what? Entries. Entries will return both keys and values. It is easy for accessing the data. We can even display how many. That means document dot write topics dot size. So means how many keys are present. It will get the number. That means 2 keys are present. We can set the numbers. This is easy for handling key and value. If I want to remove any key, then what you do? Topics dot what? Delete what? 1. Then first one is deleted. Then only one is there. Right? And actually this is deleted. This is printed after, before deleting we have to give. Na? Now you can see it will not print the first one. So deleting, clearing, everything will be easy. You don't need to depend on other functions. So that is the reason maps will be a good option later. These days in Angular, React and other technologies, wherever we have to deal unorganized data, then we use regularly maps. So these are all under the category of data types. These are all data types. So in JavaScript, now you have seen variables and data types. Now we need to understand the next important is operators. Operators and statements. What are JavaScript operators and statements? Already we used so many operators. Some operators which are left we will discuss. Then we can design more complex functions now, right? That we will see in next session. Tomorrow we will do that. Tomorrow we will discuss about operators